What in the world is going on here? The crypto market is green, but Launchcoin is on an entirely different level. 7,000% appreciation in a single week alone. Now let's have a look at what's behind this rally, who is actually buying here, and how much more upside there potentially could be. Today we are up 250%. This week more than 7,000, and this month more than 40,000%. How much longer will this rally last? Does it still make sense to buy at those prices? Or is this a matter of buying high to then end up selling low? Let's look deeper. Now here's the website, Believe in Something. The platform enables to launch a token with a simple tweet. And with the recent success, Launchcoin is now the 18th largest trending token on Solana. We are not yet at 1, we are not at 100. It seems like we're in some kind of a sweet spot. There is $1.8 million of liquidity on chain, and the market cap is 200 million. Here's the chart on a linear scale, here's a chart on the logarithmic scale, and of course we have seen our drops as well. This was an 81% drop, and this after launch was a 99.6% drop. There are more than 11,000 wallets that have traded the token in the last 24 hours. Most of them of course are buyers. But is this a lot of retail investors buying into the token, or is this manipulation by a few whales that just buy up all of the supply? What I like about the blockchain is that we can actually answer those questions, because all of the transactions are 100% transparent. We can see what wallets are currently accumulating, we can see who's currently selling, we can also see whether or not there is some manipulation going on. Now on chain we currently have 25,000 holders, but not all of those holders are created equal, right? Some of them might just own a few cents of the token, while others might hold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of the token. Now those 25,000 holders compare to 26,000 followers on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. Now this is a bit uncommon. Usually you would see less followers on Twitter than holders on chain, but let's look at the on-chain data a bit more. What we've got over here is the number of first-time traders versus recurring traders per day, and the number of token transactions per day. So this looks at the last month where you got this massive growth in the price, and of course we also see a lot of new traders entering the token. Yesterday it was more than 7,000. That's exactly what we want, right? We want to see how the investor base grows over time. More investors means a higher valuation. Now we can ignore the latest data point because today has just started. So we might even see another all-time high today. What we're seeing here is the trading volume measured in US dollars, and it's segregated by different wallet sizes. So we've got the small holders, the people that have less than $1,000 worth of the token. We've got medium-sized holders, so that's up to 10,000. We've got the large holders up to 100,000, and we've got the whales more than 100,000. And we can see a lot of trading volume when the token launched at the end of January of this year, and now things start to pick up again. Initially, it was the big wallets that made up most of the trading volume, then small retail took over, and now it's again the larger wallets that make up more of the trading volume. So small retail is declining again in the last few days. Now let's have a look at how many retail investors versus whale investors there are over time. So let's say this is a whale-driven rally. Is this because there are a few whales that buy up all of the supply, or are there simply bigger investors getting into the market? We are finding that answer here. On the left side, we see the number of wallets that have at least 5,000 launch coins. So at the current price, that's roughly $1,000 worth of the token. In the middle, it's 50,000 launch coins, so that's $10,000. On the right, it's another 10x, so now $100,000 worth of the token. We can see very similar dynamics across the different wallet cohorts, but it seems like the whales recovered their selling the quickest. They are close to all-time highs, while the number of retail investors is not yet there. Retail is buying slower. Now here's a chart that gives the ultimate explanation. We are looking at how much of the token supply is held by wallets that have at least $100,000 or $10,000 or $1,000 or below 1,000. So we're doing the same split. And have a look at this. The whales are currently buying up the supply massively. Now 77% of the Launchcoin supply is owned by the whales. So those are wallets that have more than $100,000 worth of the token. Small retail is now owning minute quantities, only 0.8% of the supply. And that used to be 40% of the supply. So this is a whale takeover. The big guys are buying it all up. And maybe they're buying because they know more than us. Maybe they know about more centralized exchange listings or about an inclusion in perpetual futures. Whatever the reason is, the smart money, the people that tend to have most capital, are buying pretty much everything. There are perpetual futures already. They're mainly traded on MEXC, but the trading volume is still relatively low with 54 million. The spot volume on Radium is still larger. And so this is probably where further upside potential is. 200 million in market cap really isn't that large yet. And once we see listings on Binance and OKX, etc., we're probably going to see another step up. But it's always important to look at what the whales actually do. But most of the time, when we see a pattern like this, we continue to see that accumulation until the whales have at least 95%, maybe even more of the supply. So I don't think that the current price of 21 cents is already the top. Probably this rally will last a bit longer. We're not going to 10x that quickly from here, but another doubling is definitely possible. Now let's zoom out a little bit and have a look at the macro picture. We actually see an expanding crypto market, money flowing into the market since October of 2023 already. We know this because of this data over here, the stablecoin market cap. It's currently going up. Before October of 2023, it tended to go down. And the way this data is generated by looking at the minting and the redemption of stablecoin. So fundamentally how this works is when you deposit your hard-earned fiat currency to a centralized exchange, then that centralized exchange will send over the fiat currency to a custodian, to a stablecoin issuer. That custodian, so be it USDC, so Circle, or Tether for USDT, that custodian will hold the funds in a dedicated account and then will create tokens. So that's what's happening when this chart is going up. Whenever you're withdrawing your funds, then of course the custodian has to release again the fiat, send it over to you via the centralized exchange, and that's when we go down. And there's a reasonable case to be made that the more money is in a system, the higher the prices should go. Have a look at this. This is Bitcoin since October of 2023. And the largest drawdown we have seen while money was still flowing into the market was 28%. But again, when money is flowing in, those dips tend to get bought up. Now, what are those green circles over here? They appear after a price rally. It's an indication when there's a lot of attention on crypto. So there was a spike in search interest for Bitcoin at the beginning of March of 2024, but also at the beginning, middle of November of 2024. So that's what's highlighted with those bubbles. The masses tend to be late. The masses tend to buy after a price rally. And that's a problem, right? Most people enter crypto when prices are high, and then potentially comes at least a short-term correction. And then a lot of those people that got excited about Bitcoin first have to ride through that correction. It can be minor, since currently the market still expands, but it can also be major, of course, as we have seen with prior attention spikes. And so there are two fundamental forces that move the crypto prices. First of all, it's the money in and outflows, but it's also the swapping activity. So once there's capital in the system, people tend to swap in and out of Bitcoin, but also in and out of the altcoins. And whenever we deploy, say, $100 worth of stable coins, the market cap of a crypto asset rises more than that. There is some inherent leverage effect. And that means we can measure how much the market is currently risk on or risk off. What we've got over here is the stablecoin dominance. So it's not the stablecoin market cap, it's the stablecoin dominance. It measures how much of the entire cryptocurrency market cap is currently in stablecoins. When this is very high, the market is risk off. So a lot of the market cap is in stablecoins. When this is very low, the market is very risk on. And in the last 1.5 years, we tended to trade in a range between 5% stablecoin dominance and 9% stablecoin dominance. And surprise, surprise, when the stablecoin dominance is high, it means crypto prices are very low. When the stablecoin dominance is low, crypto prices tend to be high. So interestingly enough, whenever the stablecoin dominance is low and when prices have already gone up, that's when the tourists enter and first get burned. So we want to be counter-cyclical. We want to sell when stablecoin dominance is low. We want to buy when stablecoin dominance is high. And it very much looks like we are currently on the way to seeing more stablecoin deployments. In other words, the current positive rally is probably going to continue. I don't have a crystal ball. It's just the way how I interpret the data. And then the question is, does it make sense to just buy Bitcoin if we expect prices to go up, or should we rather go with the altcoins? Now, some altcoins can do phenomenally. Others tend to underperform. But let's have a look at, for example, Virtual. Virtual went up by almost 3x in the last month. But I think it's better to try to find those altcoins very early. So the real gains had been made in the early days, right? When we look at the all-time chart of Virtual Protocol, those gains are immense, 20,000%. And so the life-changing money is not necessarily just in riding the current wave and buying a broad basket of altcoins. It's trying to find approaches to get into those altcoins much earlier than most. And I think a very good approach is to look at people that tended to buy well-performing assets early in the past. So for example here, right, this is Brian Young. He bought the Virtual Protocol token at 7 cents. And that was on the 21st of March 2024. So that's over here. We subsequently saw a rally of more than 6,000%. And so here's his YouTube channel, right? He's got more than 2 million subscribers. It of course begs the question, is Brian Young just more skilled, or does he have sufficient impact on the prices? Because maybe some of his following is buying into the token as well. I don't know, but it's always valuable to know what those kind of people are doing. The way how we knew about Brian Young buying into the token at that time was not because he announced it that early on his channel. It was because we track his wallets. We've got 5 of Brian Young's wallets. In total, we track almost 600 influencer wallets. So we've got also wallets by Alex Becker. He's got 1.6 million subscribers. We are also tracking the Crypto Banter channel. They've got 1.2 million subscribers. And again, I think it makes sense to be very early with the insiders and with the people that move the market. Now, of course, not every single token that's purchased by an influencer is going to rally. Some tokens are just bought and never announced on the social media, so we don't have the purchases by the following. But if you want to have a chance of being early, if you want to get the 10 or 20x returns, we can't just buy what's already big, right? We have to buy the things that the smart money is buying as well. And so here are a few examples of trades that our community has made. We discuss the influencer trades. We discuss potential opportunities to bet on rising, but also to bet on falling prices, depending on market conditions. And so, of course, we track our influencer wallets, but there's also a tutorial section on just how to find those influencer wallets. There are various approaches through NFTs, through related transactions, through deposit addresses on centralized exchanges. There are 8 tutorial videos in total. And so then the community is trying to figure out what wallets that we are not yet tracking can we potentially add to our bot. So there's a dedicated wallet research chat. We've just added influencer Chicken Genius. And then every day we get signals when influencers buy and sell. Selling is also important, right? Most people don't publish when they sell. It's very interesting. Some people just buy, publish a video on an asset, and then sell just a few hours afterwards. They're literally pumping and dumping on the audience. It's quite nice to look behind the scenes. And so feel free to check it out. It's down below. It's thebitcoinstrader.com. Currently the price is $125 per month. It went down because search interest in crypto is now rather low. Once we are up again, the price of course will get increased, but not for the people that are already subscribed. So once you sign up for $125, that price is locked in. So here's my recommendation. Don't wait until attention is again at those heights. We are still early. The market is expanding though. Macro is positive, but you don't want to wait until the rally has already happened. Right now, attention is still low. The rally is likely going to continue. As said, there's still money on the sidelines. The stablecoin dominance has room to further fall, which will result in rising altcoin prices. It's just about figuring out what altcoin has most upside. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in Premium. The link is down below, thebitcoinstrader.com. There should also be a link directly here on the screen where you click on that link, then it will lead you directly to the page. See you next time. Bye-bye.